Hello everybody and welcome back. Good to talk to all of you again today. And today we're taking a look at the newly released development blog post on the Italian battleships. So obviously these are coming to Supertest 0.9.10 and when that happens we'll get some more data mined information, but this is what's been released so far. We got the information for 4 ships, but we can probably make some assumptions about some of the other ones. Starting at tier 6, we have the Andrea Doria. At tier 7 we have the Francesco Caracciolo. At tier 8, we have Vittorio Venito, and at tier 10, we have Cristoforo Colombo. Now, the Italian battleships are obviously going to be sort of like specialized for what they said is to be mid-range combat, so this is probably going to be somewhere around, I'm guessing, like 12 to maybe about 15 kilometers is probably going to be their main zone of combat. The Italian battleships do not have HE, they have SAP, which you'll see is kind of an interesting shell type for these battleships. They are obviously going to be very, very capable of hurting things that don't have a lot of armor. They also have the exhaust smoke that the Italian cruisers have, so they're able to turn, blow the smoke at sort of full speed and be able to cover themselves, which is a very, very useful thing to have because it allows you to disengage very easily. Okay. They don't have very good accuracy, and this is something that we're going to be touching on in the, as we go through the video, because their sigma values are relatively poor, and considering Italian ballistics already, the dispersion might not be very consistent, and it's a line of battleships that I'm not probably going to like all that much, even though I really love the Italians. It's just inaccurate guns, especially main guns and BBs, are just kind of frustrating to use. But we'll get to it as we start to cover the ships. Now, typical Italian battleships, it's not mentioned here, but you'll see later on, probably the A is going to be meh, relatively short range, they're probably going to be able to do some things if you eat the fly clouds, but otherwise not great. They do have, supposedly, a good secondary battery in terms of accuracy, but short range, so again, moot point, because if it's short range, nobody really uses it anyways. Decent concealment, so this is going to be a thing. Concealment values are going to be good. Average maneuverability, okay. Good turret traverse, and rather good armor. So again, if we're sort of extrapolating from Roma, I think Italian battleships as a whole are going to have solid protection in that regard. Okay, so we're going to start with the tier 10 at the Cristoforo Colombo, because the tier 10 sort of defines the line, right? And sort of the rest of the ships are going to have similar type-ish characteristics. First things first, 89,900 HP, a little bit low for a tier 10. Probably not the largest or maybe heaviest of the vessels at tier 10, so that's fine. 32mm plating doesn't really tell us much. We have to see the armor model in more detail when that time comes. Okay, main battery. This is where things get interesting. 4x4 381mm guns, so 16 guns in total. Really, I'd hope this would have been the French thing, because, you'd have like Alsace at tier 9. You'd think that maybe tier 10 would have something like this, but nope, the Italians are the ones who actually get it. And the sort of few things to note, one, highest AP alpha in the game at 192,000, which is a massive amount. Maximum AP, so initial AP velocity, not maximum. Initial AP velocity, high, 850 meters per second. Identical to the Roma in the game right now. So you'd expect very, very fast shell travel speeds. Maximum SAP shell damage is 14,050. SAP initial velocity is 880 meters per second, also very, very high. 96mm penetration by the SAP shells, and of course the SAP is actually kind of scary because the typical with SAP you don't get citadel hits, so you won't see the maximum 14,050, but you'll typically see like penetration damage, which is 33% of whatever. That means that you're looking at a possible max salvo of 74,184 on Cristoforo Colombo. That's pretty insane. Reload time, of course, is a little bit slow, 38 seconds. Now, this means that in terms of DPM, it's a bit middle of the pack, lower than Montana, lower than 406 GK, lower than Borgogna, lower than the Conqueror. So, meh, middle of the pack there. Turret traverse is fast, 30 seconds. Sigma, however, and max dispersion, those are the two defining characteristics of this entire line. Really, really poor dispersion overall, I think. Sigma value of 1.6. So if you look at, for example, Roma's already not great, and Roma has better Sigma, so yeah, this thing is gonna have some issues with hitting stuff. So that's probably not great. Again, there's another thing to be said here as well. The ships do have reasonably good concealment, and Roma has that characteristic of that ship. And so it also suggests that there is situations where if you're closer, you might actually want to switch to armor piercing. All right. One last thing about Cristoforo Colombo, just so you guys are aware, when you fully spec for concealment, 12.9 kilometer surface detectability, pretty darn good. As you can also pay attention to, and if you're looking at the AA values or whatever, just meh, just kind of meh. Anyhow, all right, moving on. We don't have any details for Lepanto, which is a tier 9, but I would hazard a guess that Lepanto is probably going to have 12 481 millimeter guns. So either a 3 times 4 or a 4 times 3 kind of layout. So we'll have to see. We don't have any more details. The next ship we do have details for is actually Vittorio Venito. First things first, disappointing model right off the bat. You can tell by the way that the bow shape is that this is actually just the Roma model. And so that's kind of disappointing. It looks like they just copied and pasted the model right over. Not too thrilled with that. Really wanted to see some difference there because we already have Littorio as well, which was a straight copy pasta. So not thrilled with Wargaming's decision with this. Basically a Roma. Like, if you look at all the specifications, basically a Roma, except for the fact that it's got SAP, and its Sigma value is worse. So that's not great. Surface detectability, again, like I said, very, very good. 11.7 surface detect for the Vittorio Venito. Basically like a Roma, but 1.6 Sigma. Man, for Roma's guns with those ballistics and everything, I am not looking forward to that. Other than that aspect of it, I mean, everything else is basically, once again, a Roma, with, of course, the difference of having the fuel smoke. But, gosh, like, give me a fuel smoke at the expense of Sigma value. I don't know. I don't know. The SAP salvo on Vittorio Venito is, like, it's workable, I guess. 41.7k max, assuming all penetrations. But that's Sigma. I just cannot see these shells landing the way you want, because at 1.8 Roma already struggles to get her shells to kind of go the way you want. So with this, I mean, Cristoforo Colombo I can kind of make an argument for, because 1.6, but you got 16 shells going downrange. Yeah, okay, you're probably, even if you just aim poorly, you're gonna hit something just because of that shotgun spread. But Vittorio Venito's got 9. And that's not enough for 1.6 Sigma. I really hope that this ship gets brought up to Roma's level at around, let's say, like 1.8. I think 1.8 I can justify on the ship. But then, if you have that situation, I can see Wargaming's argument that, then, who'd want to get a Roma, because performance-wise, they'd be very, very similar. So, I can see the argument, but I'm not really sold on that ship right now. Next up, we get to Tier 7, where we have Francesco Caracciolo. And, well, this ship, yeah, I mean, if you take a look at the ballistics and the sort of the characteristics of these guns, these are basically going to be Roma guns again, right? High velocity, not the world's greatest dispersion. Again, the same 1.6 Sigma problems. Now, Tier 7, I can see the ship kind of working. I can see it. And part of the reason I see it kind of working is, A, it's going to be a battleship at Tier 7 with 11.6 surface detectability, because its normal base surface detectability is 13.3. So throw on Concealment Expert, throw on Camel Paint, 11.6. That's quite good. That allows you to get sneaky, get up close and personal. Plus, you've got that disengage smoke, which will help you disengage. So in this ship's case, I could even see an argument to not fire SAP, even just, become an AP sort of stealth battleship. It could work. And this characteristic is also shared by Andrea Doria, except it doesn't have the 381 millimeter guns. It's got 320. 381, by the way, is a very useful sort of caliber at Tier 7, because you have that overmatch potential against 26. So, I can see that ship having, at least some place. Andrea Doria, she looks nice. She's pretty. She's still a very stealthy battleship. Sigma's not that great. And that not so good Sigma for me is just, yeah. I mean, I can see it working on, like I said, the Tier 10 with that number of shells. I can see that working. Even the Tier 9, which only has 12, I can see that working. And by the way, we don't know the details of the tier 9. That was speculation, by the way, for about the 12. But everything else, 1.6 is just really painful. Like, I just cannot imagine playing a Roma, for example, with its ballistics and shell like characteristics, and then going down to like 1.6 Sigma. I already get angry enough with the ship as it is with 1.8. So looking at the rest of the line, where just 1.6 is kind of the norm. I don't know. I'm just not sure about that. I mean, yes, it's nice that they have that, good overall characteristics in terms of like, surface concealment, fuel smoke, and all that, but that's Sigma. I'm not sold on that. Some people might look at me and say, well, look, Palmer has those smaller caliber guns, a lot of them, and kind of poor Sigma, maybe that is the thing, kind of reflect on the Italians, but I would like to remind you that Palmer really is meant for brawling. It's got secondaries, it's got torpedoes, and the Italians don't really have that. They're not really meant to be brawlers, so the kind of crap Sigma, I think, is going to be an issue. Now, my first sort of look through this whole list of ships, that would be my main concern, is gun handling. Are they going to land their shots on target? Is it going to put it even within the same area code that you want to? And what's the actual effective firepower you're really going to have? Because for a battleship, when you have a salvo, and getting that salvo, because it actually hits and it does the damage that you want, is really, really critical. And I just don't see that with the Italians right now. Anyways, if you guys think I'm missing something, let me know in the comment section below. Aside from all that, take care, have a good one, and I'll talk to all of you again next time.